on the inside, she got the scoop on the ones to watch, on the ones that's hot. No one can do it quite like Caroline.
Hey y'all, it's Caroline Hobby and welcome to my show, Get Real from the Music City, capital of the world. In each episode, I get the real story from the most inspiring, interesting people in Nashville, Tennessee. I have done everything in the music entertainment industry. I was in the trio Stealing Angels with 2 top 50 country charting songs, a finalist and runner-up on season 22 and season 24 of The Amazing Race. You can currently catch me on CMT's hit show, I Love Kelly Pickler. I am an entertainment news correspondent and host for the TV show Nashville Insider, and my podcast, Get Real with Caroline Hobby, was featured on iTunes' New and Noteworthy and charted on iTunes' Top 200 podcast. I'm also married to the smoking hot front man, Michael Hobby, of the #1 chart-topping band, 1,000 Horses. So buckle up and get ready to get real with me, Caroline Hobby. Welcome to my show. What up, what up, what up? What up? This is a super exciting episode for me personally because, first off, you guys are incredible. This is the most dynamic, hot photography team. I don't know what's the technical word?
Photo, video,
yeah,
creative,
creative team.
Yeah, creative team.
Creative team. So you guys are doing all of the photos for all of the stars.
Oh my gosh, all of them.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Whoa.
We're making our way.
And your #1 has been me.
Of course.
And your husband.
Oh yeah, don't forget about him.
I know, y'all did the 1,000 Horses cover shoot.
Yep.
Which their album cover looks amazing.
Oh my gosh.
That was the
it's
funnest shoot
It's one of my
ever.
favorites.
Oh my God.
For sure.
It was one of your favorites?
Oh yeah.
Why was it one of your favorites?
I feel just I don't know, just the way it turned out, that old kind of vintage texture, I love it.
And
it matched their branding really well.
Yeah, and they had such a clear vision. A lot of the times we have to, kind of come up with something out of nothing, and especially if it's for a new album, a lot of times the music isn't ready yet, and so we are just kind of, just pulling something out of the air, and
Are you trying to match the music? So there's
100%.
You want the song, if you're doing an album cover for an artist, you want those songs to match the pictures.
Crucial.
100%.
Do you
that
feel
is the goal.
Do you feel like that happens a lot?
Yeah, I
think that's our goal. That's our mission. Make music look as good as it sounds. That's literally what we say. We try to just make it match up. You don't want, the artist going in and working so hard on an album and then, we just throw willy-nilly a photo out there that doesn't even match, what they were going for. We need it to be cohesive and look really well or look really good. So,
do you think all photographers do that? Do you think that's the goal?
I'm not sure. Some of my, my favorite photographers definitely seem like they do. I would think so. I think, obviously in music photography, that is the #1 thing, is matching the music to the visuals. If you hear, if you were to see, a super crazy poppy looking photo with a super traditional sounding song, you wouldn't be able to match those up. So I think that that's pretty much the consensus,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a new concept or anything, but yeah, I think that...
Y'all nail it.
Thank you.
This is super exciting for me though, because I had this little dream 2 years ago. Maybe was it a little over 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I was just coming off my music career.
So crazy.
Oh my gosh. I was leaving a record deal. My life was in turmoil. I was basically having nervous breakdown #3 because I like to just really hit the mat when I fall. I can't just casually go through problems.
Nope, dropping bombs all over the place.
Emotional warfare is breaking loose in my mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
So anyway, I come to you guys and I'm like, I was going to start with a podcast. Before this turned into a show.
I'm still freaking out at all of this. It's oh my God, how did you do this, girl?
Well, it started with y'all, and I think that is the key thing to what this show is about, is having a dream and then making it a reality. But we did a photo shoot with you guys before, and we had the vision. Y'all helped me zero in my vision, zero in the color scheme, because color was a big deal. Y'all are very colorful too. Color is a big part of y'all's photos.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. But y'all are the reason that I could get it going, because we're like, okay, photo shoot, locking it in, help me build my website, and then I was just off to the races. And that was the first step to where we are now.
And I mean, do you remember, I remember we went to a meeting at Barista Parlor.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I had known you, we had done a couple of small projects together, and then we just get there and, Caroline's just like, so I'm doing a podcast and not really sure, don't really know, but we're doing it and I'm filming, we're shooting tomorrow. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I think that you had your name picked out already.
Because I hadn't rebranded. Because now it's The Lens. Life is how you see it.
Yeah.
But it was Hyper Caroline Hobby because at that point, I mean, there was probably no one more hyper in the world than me.
You're right.
Just to get it going.
Still maybe that way.
Yeah.
But and then we just kind of got going, just trying to figure out what your vibe was, what your interview style was, who you wanted to talk to, who the people you were going to talk to, and so we just kind of ran with it. It was definitely, I think we definitely immediately after hearing you spill your guts were like, yellow. It's yellow.
Yeah. Yellow. Yeah.
Yes.
It's yellow.
Bright, happy. Yeah. Yep,
yeah. And
sure.
then what I remember what was so funny is that we got the cover and the cover shot, we got that really quick. You know, it was like a big, it was a huge shoot. And then that was like, within the first hour we got the cover shot. And I remember like, stop, hang on, we got to play with that one really quick, and pulled it into Photoshop and then just kind of made, a mock-up cover, and you're like, I love that, oh my God. And then that ended up, after all of that whole day, that ended up being the shot.
The one.
And it still is.
Does that happen a lot where you take tons of shots, but you kind of get you get one and you're like, oh, that's magic, but you keep going?
I think we play a game of it on set where Ford goes, oh, that's the one. And then I'd say probably like 9 times out of 10, it ends up being the one. Yeah.
What makes the one? How do you know when you have the one? What does it take to make the perfect picture? Because the perfect picture actually doesn't have to be flawless. Because sometimes little intricacies in the picture are what makes it. So how do you know you have the shot?
I don't know. I mean, you just know. I don't. Is
it like just
so
inside
cliche.
of you?
It's instinct.
Yeah,
I think.
it's very instinct. It's I think for me, I know that I have the one when immediately just one random frame I start thinking about website and banners and Twitter headers and seeing it on the side of something, holding it in my hand, when you just like when your brain kind of goes,
it gets a life in your head.
Yeah, and then you automatically, I think I automatically like kind of get like the typography and logo stuff and just thinking about writing all over it or tour dates, and things like that. And I think that's when it's just like, oh yeah, that's it.
That's the one.
Yeah.
So, have y'all ever had anyone bare their soul like I have in your studio?
Actually,
What do you mean?
I decided if we're going to do this, I might as well just give it all. I think I was right around 30. I just got married, and I was like, I'm going to do a full burlesque photo shoot.
Yep.
And you
it
did.
was-
And only because you're
amazing.
Only because you're not interested in females is why my husband, he didn't know about it at the time, but I was like, that's the only justification. Why I can
That's the only shoot we've ever done like that.
It's fully nude.
That's the only one. But
And it was awesome because it was like, I was kind of freaking out about that too.
because it's a lot.
Yeah, it was.
like,
It is
hello.
a lot. And I didn't know what to expect, or if there's how loud and crazy I am, on set, and so I didn't know, is that like, am I supposed to be quiet and like, gentle?
we're in a library now.
This is a very intimate moment.
I think you set the tone though, because you were just like top off, like here we go, let's go.
If you're gonna go nude, you gotta go all the way. And
You
just
were
not
super
worry about
confident, and I think that made everyone else feel comfortable in the room. Like, okay, this is just like a normal.
No big deal.
Yeah.
And then because I was just kind of expecting, I just naturally you would just expect, someone like fully nude with a camera crew and like a ton of people on set around you. I would be freaking the hell out. Are you kidding me? And you weren't at all. You're like, all right, I'm ready. Let's do it. And we were trying to make it look like, remember like a really bright and sunny, like morning, Sunday morning, gorgeous, hello gorgeous. And it was like an air mattress.
It was, we used an air mattress.
It was so beautiful.
But it looked
though.
great.
No
it
one
looked
would know.
great. No.
That's what I gave my husband for our 1-year anniversary. I'm like, that's a good present.
Yeah.
And it's paper
yeah.
for the first one.
Yeah, and he She loved it.
Oh, that's some good
I've
paper.
heard.
Like, I gotta document. I'm not. All this is not always gonna be in this place forever. So I gotta take a picture of it while I'm feeling good.
Girl, you did.
You owned it. You owned it.
So tell me some of the people that you. Well, actually, first off, tell me how y'all got together. I need to know a little bit about your upbringing. Obviously, you're a photographer extraordinaire, and you guys have partnered together. So talk to me about how you grew up, where this love came from, and how y'all merged together. I know that's a lot, but you can handle it.
We met in college at MTSU.
Okay.
Yeah, at MTSU. I had started at Austin P in Clarksville. That's where I'm from. But decided none of those majors did it for me, and I really wanted to do this music business thing at MTSU. So I transferred over and I moved into an apartment complex, and it was just one of those things where everybody knew everybody and everybody was friends, and someone had invited me over to dinner, and it happened to be at Ford's apartment. And got in there, and I mean, it sounds so cheesy and corny, but literally we became best friends immediately. That night, it was oh, what are you doing tomorrow? Okay, cool.
It was just instant, a match.
Straight up instant. It was and I remember the first night that we met, it was you're definitely my best friend, and we're going to start some kind of business together one day.
Yeah.
You knew you wanted to work together.
We talked about it in college. We were we don't know what it's going to be. I mean, for him, it was easier, I think, because he was already in photography. So obviously he had that skill behind him that he was perfecting and working on in college. But for me, I knew I was a weirdo, artsy, creative, all over the place person, but I didn't have a specific talent. I didn't sing, photography, video.
And it's hard when you don't feel like you have a specific talent.
But
sometimes.
I knew I loved music, and I knew I had a passion for, being creative. I just had no idea how to channel that energy. So I just put it into school. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to end up in music business anyway. Might as well just do it.
But you knew you were drawn to the creative, artistic
for sure
field.
And what was
100%.
so funny is that, for me, I went, immediately just started sending, I was during college, I was just doing, weddings and, senior portraits. And
Did you always have dreams of getting into doing artists and
100%,
entertainment?
100%.
So wedding was just a stepping stone.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was taken off, it got me through college. I didn't have a job, in college. That's what I did. And so that's kind of all I really know.
Are you self-taught, or did you go to school?
I was at MT. I dropped out of college, but yeah.
I don't think college is totally necessary, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't for me. I kind of, just eventually one day just got pissed off and said, I'm out of here.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, whatever. And so, but what was so funny is that immediately, as soon as Christina and I were friends, I'm very much on getting everyone's opinions on everything before I send it out. And so I would start sending it to Christina, literally just huge batches of photos at a time. And she was the only one of my friends that would be the colors on this suck, that one's a little out of focus, that one is phenomenal, keep everything going that way. And so she was the one, my one friend that wasn't,
that was honest.
It's amazing, oh my God.
And you found yourself trusting her opinion too.
Yeah. And
you agreed with what she said.
Absolutely, and it very quickly became oh shit, I can't
your
turn
backboard.
in a single photo without her, letting me know what to do.
So you're kind of the backboard. You guys are the yin and the yang. You have
100%.
all this creativity oozing out of you. It's just exploding, but you're okay, yes, explode. And then you're okay, let's narrow this down.
Exactly.
And well, I think
that's
that's what it was, but it's definitely grown. It's definitely now grown into, almost very much the same. She's definitely the black and white one of the family.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's crazy. It's really weird nowadays, whether it's a big video that we're directing, or, just any certain project, it's kind of grown now to where, whoever's baby it is, and it's very natural. It's not we don't really walk into anything and say I'm doing this one, that kind of thing. It's more of when the ideas start rolling, it's oh girl, this is your project.
So what you see whose baby, whose vision it is?
Yeah.
So you'll create some of the visions that you're bringing. Okay, so y'all both are the visionaries for the shoot.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No rhyme or reason, really.
Honestly, it's just kind of going off of it. I think, we just have such a crazy creative relationship where it's we can listen to each other's opinions, but let one or the other take the helm,
take the lead.
Yeah.
And there's y'all never, because I feel a lot of times egos get involved. But you guys don't feel have that ego clash.
No, because I still feel it's contributing regardless of who's the lead or whatever. It's still the other person supporting. And at the end of the day, we have a company together. So regardless, we want it to be good.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
we're
not
always
like it's
going to
hurting
support.
anything,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Yes. That's crazy that you knew right away that y'all wanted to work together. Like, it was instant.
I will never. I mean, like, we used to
It was
drive
weird.
around MTSU smoking cigarettes.
Yep.
And just talking about, like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? Like, really having no idea. And I had gotten an internship at Capitol Records my senior year, so I moved to Nashville. And then after I graduated, they didn't have a position available, so I moved to LA, started working at Capitol Records out there. And then in the meantime,
She says it like that's
Ford.
no big deal.
I mean, yeah, it was
That's like
crazy.
the biggest
It was
deal
crazy.
out of college. That is
Totally.
the
Yeah.
moving to LA and getting a job at Capitol Records. That's just like
Oh, I
that's
thought-
like the top.
yeah.
It's
Like,
so hard to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Did you just have to like cold call, or how'd you get in there?
Basically through my internship, I think they had moved my resume to the top of the pile because they knew I was already a part of the Capitol family. And then I had my interview within like 2 weeks of moving to LA and got hired. And it was crazy. It was crazy. I was like, yes, got a big kid job. I'm gonna be able to survive in this
Heck
city.
yeah.
You know.
So then you're in
crazy.
LA, and then what happens?
I hated LA.
I know LA is great. The traffic
really-
is so much.
You know, honestly, no. I love LA. I love to visit LA, and I've learned that now. I mean, because I had been to LA prior to moving there,
still
and I was
wanna
like,
live there.
oh, this is so cool. I can't imagine living here. And then I got there, I was like, oh yeah, no, this is not
Yep,
for me.
yep.
I came running back to Nashville. And I'm so happy that I did. I love Nashville, and I never want to leave. But anyway, so I moved back here, and in the meantime, Ford had been blowing up as a photographer. I mean, just like, whoa, like.
And see, she says it like that,
Crazy.
and I'm just like, I was so broke, and just nothing was happening.
Isn't that
And then
funny
it
that you
was-
think everyone has this image of you, but inside you're like, I have no money, I can barely pay my rent,
Oh my
like I
gosh.
got a
But
great.
you know, when I left, he was like doing weddings and like random things here and there. And then when I got back, it's like, oh, you're in the music business now. Now you're working with labels, and you're like, I mean, it
Okay.
might not be the biggest artist, but it's just like a step in that direction. Like you've continued to, have the wheel keep turning.
So then that's when y'all linked back up.
Right. I had gone through the merger with Capitol Records and Universal Music Group, and I survived the merger, and I got hired on, and I just had a job that I couldn't be creative, and I was stuck under these fluorescent lights, like 9 to 6 life, and I was like,
That's not
this
my
ain't
life.
gonna work.
Nope.
Like, this is not gonna work. I cannot live my life like this. And in the meantime, I feel like Ford was just, like I said, he just continued to get busier and busier and needed someone to kind of pick up that slack for him in terms of
Yeah.
like the business side and keeping up
I
with
was
everything.
About to nosedive, like I was nosediving.
Okay,
really
so tell me
bad.
how you made the jump from wedding photography into all of a sudden now you're working with labels, you're doing album covers, you're shooting music videos
God.
and lyric videos for stars like Jason Aldean, Kelsey Ballerini. I mean, you're working with incredible stars. How did you make that jump, and how do you do that? Because I feel like so many people get stuck and they can't transition and they get scared, or I don't know. How do you make it happen?
Well, for me, it was really, I was, when I moved to Nashville, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I can dive right into the music business, but, I can, supplement that with, weddings and seniors and just keep that side of it up. And so I started, pounding the pavement, just the daily hustle, trying to meet anyone and everybody, going to every single event, shaking hands with literally everyone that seemed important, and then I was interning at a company called CrowdSurf, their social
Yeah.
media marketing company, and I was interning there, and after my internship was over, they had said, hey, we've got this new artist that is on this, label called BBR.
Broken Bow
and
Records.
Broken Bow Records, and they really need a photographer. They asked us for suggestions, and we're just like, we just think you're it. You should totally do it.
You've never worked with a major recording artist before.
Never, and it was like, oh my God, Mama, we made it. Oh my God.
You probably didn't even charge anything for your services, did you?
$250.
We're like, so you could have charged like 10,000 probably.
But it was just like, oh my gosh, here's my chance. And
You
so,
got to take them. And that's the
Yeah.
thing, you can't do it for money in the beginning. I mean, you really
No.
can't ever do it for
no,
money.
and it's such a double-edged sword, but I met with the creative director, and she was like, man, I'm really loving your style. Can you do, this photo shoot with this new guy. We just signed him. His name is Dustin Lynch, whatever. And I'm like, yes, we can. Yes. And so, like, hooking up with managers and all these, like, random people. And that was literally my first time ever, like, there's a lot of pressure when you get your first big one.
Oh, my gosh, because what if you blow it?
Yeah, and it's like, I'm not just talking to the bride. I was talking to, like, 9,000.
And there's all this legal stuff now.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh, you got
managers.
yes. You got A&R, you got label heads, you got the artists, you have the publicists. The list goes on. It's like a nightmare almost.
And you know how, like, and they like make it seem terrifying to start talking about the money side of it. So I'm like, $250. I know you're gonna say yes to that. Let's do it.
Like, don't skip me.
Yeah.
You pick me.
Yeah.
And so we did the shoot, but then with his manager, he was like, hey, look, so here are the 2 days available, because he was on radio tour. And I had no idea what radio tour even meant. Like, we'll cancel it then. We have a photo shoot to do.
Yeah. Well, radio tour, for anyone listening, is basically where an artist has to go around the country, play their songs for all of the radio stations across the country.
They're
basically like promoting themselves, saying like pick me, pick my song, play my song, and they have to go around and talk to every single person in the country.
So I didn't really know, I didn't really know anything, and they said that only 2 dates available are this, Tuesday or Thursday. And so I was like, oh, great, that's the day of my finals, at school. And I'm like, can we do literally any other day? But
those are the 2 days of your finals?
2 days of my finals. I had just transferred from MTSU to Watkins. And I was honestly on my way out of college. I was just there because my parents really wanted me to get that damn degree.
So you are like about to graduate. All you have to do is take a final, but you have, oh no.
No, it wasn't my last year. I still have one more year left, but it was
But you're at this crossroads where it's like, I'm either going to take my final or I'm going to take my opportunity and have my first major shot.
Yeah.
That is what we like to call
Take the leap.
The leap.
Yeah.
The leap. And how important is the leap when it comes to making your career move? You're making your passion your career. Don't you think everyone hits that leap?
We both had to do it. I was at UMG, like I said, and I was hating my life. I hated my job. It was really like sucking the life out of me. It was not fun. And I feel like at that moment, Ford was like, well, you could leave your job and start a company with me. And I did it. I left, UMG, the biggest record label in the world.
401k, great salary, on her way.
Steady paycheck to go start a company and do what I wanted to do.
With the belief that it's gonna work.
Whatever it is,
we
we'll
had
do it. Yeah.
we had several lunches talking about it before I had to actually go do it. And I told him, I was like, look, today's the day I'm going in, and I'm telling him that I'm leaving.
So funny. Which is so funny.
I've taken these leaps before too, and it's like, oh my gosh, the nausea, the anxiety.
Taking the elevator up to the floor, and then the doors opening and me just getting out. I was like, this is it. Like, I'm doing it.
Like, you quit.
This is the moment.
You said, I'm out.
I put in my 2 weeks. I just said
And then what happens? Because now all of a sudden, okay, so you're quitting your job, you're having your finals, or you do your first major photo shoot. You're both taking this leap. How do you feel in those moments? Because it hasn't panned out yet, You're just trusting in this process, and you don't know why you're trusting in it, but you feel like you have to. How do you feel in those moments? And I feel like a lot of people get to that place and they won't do it because it's too scary. So how do you convince yourself to do it? What's going on in your head before you get the success after?
Oh my God. Well, for me, when from that first photo shoot with Dustin, it was from then on, it was like, oh, okay, cool. The creative director said, hey, look, your portfolio can't have weddings and music in it, because that's just going to make everyone, realize, think that you're not, committed to one, or they're going to be confused, whatever. And so I'm like, fine, literally cut everything off then and only shot music and a lot of independent people. And so during that time was when Christina was, hustling hard.
Shout out to Tina, though, real quick.
Tina Crawford, I love you so much, honey, if you're listening to this. Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Tina.
Yeah, she just straight up was like my Nashville mom and was like, you've got the thing. Here's how you do it.
She laid it out for you.
100%. 100%.
Everybody needs that person.
And Cassie Petrie as well.
And they show up. I feel like they always say the teacher is presented when the student is ready.
Yes.
If you look for the person to be your mentor and guide you, they will show up for you.
Yeah.
When you're ready.
That's a good point.
And it was nuts. And so, I was just going. And so by the time that we got, that Christina got back after 2 years at UMG after the merger and everything. Things are moving and grooving for me, and it was getting so crazy where I couldn't move. I was getting to that point where I'm starting, and I'm not there at all yet. But I
don't think anyone ever thinks they're there, because you are there. You're doing major album covers. You're working with the biggest stars, from Jason Aldean, Kelsey Ballerini, Lauren Elena. I mean, who else? Gianna Kramer. You did a gorgeous shoot with her.
Thank you.
I mean, how else can you not? But okay, so in your head though, you want to keep going.
Yeah,
it's never.
So from the time that that things started moving and grooving, it was I was to the point where I couldn't say no to anything. I have to take anything at any budget.
Were you
I have
so
to work
scared?
with everyone.
You're so scared that you're going to miss an opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was taking on everything, but just as a one-man show, and I am terrible. I'm not organized at all.
Typical creative.
Yeah, and so so that's when it was just girl, I was starting to nosedive. It was I had so much going on.
You couldn't keep all your plates in the air.
Yeah, and so I was starting to nosedive because I was taking on too much, but couldn't afford to say no at the same time. And so.
And you probably were overworking and undercharging too.
100%. Oh my God, story of my life. And that's when Christina came on board, and it was the first day. She'll tell you, the first day we were at her apartment. And I think what was so funny is that, we talked for maybe a month, maybe 2 weeks or whatever, before she jumped off. Everyone thought we were crazy. Everyone thought oh my God, this
what
is
did
the
they think?
dumbest. They didn't really tell us until after a year and a half or 2.
Yeah, after it was okay, and we didn't totally fail. I feel like people were coming out of the woodwork I was a little nervous when you guys were.
We thought y'all were the cuckoo banana nutcrackers. Oh my God, who are y'all? But our first day, I think that we felt like we were prepared, and if you look back on it, we thought we were just had all of our ducks in a row for her to leave. And then we just did not. We just did it. We just jumped.
You just have to jump. You can't worry about having you got to try the best you can to get your ducks in a row, but then you just have to free
roll
fall.
with it. Yeah.
So what happens in that free fall? Do you just start figuring it out as you go? How do you move forward in the leap? How do you, because you're the one creating your destiny at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anyone guiding you but yourself and your instincts. So how do you?
I'd say the one thing that Ford and I definitely have in common is being stubborn, and we weren't gonna settle, and we were not gonna fail. I mean, that is that we are ride or die, seriously.
Yeah.
I am not getting another job.
If
I walk out of this building, I'm not getting another job ever again.
So
this is it. And he felt the same way.
I suddenly have all of this, pressure. I'm oh my God, I just convinced someone who actually has their shit together
to quit
to come and join the crazy land, the circus with me. And so I'm I had all of this pressure, it just felt I had doubled the weight on making sure, obviously, and I didn't know it until we were in it. I didn't have those feelings until we were in it. And it was, oh my gosh, now, I feel responsible for my success, but also, I convinced her to come and be crazy with me.
Before, where if you failed, it's okay, well, I just have only myself to fall back.
Yeah.
But honestly, I kind of think sometimes it's good to give yourself an accountability partner.
Exactly.
Because it keeps you in check and balance, and it keeps you from getting lazy or slacking. Because if you have that other person, like you said, you can maybe slack on yourself, but you can't slack on someone else.
Well,
did y'all have any of those moments where you're in it and you're oh, shiced, this isn't working, this is a disaster, oh my gosh?
It was never really between us or the work that we were doing, but obviously we had, how the music business is. It's, it's the huge roller coaster all the time. And so we'll have 1 month where we're just oh my God, we're making so much money right now, and just so excited, and it's not gonna
going
ever
out to
slow
steak
down.
dinners every night.
Yeah.
Yes, let's go to 3 Crow. Oh my gosh, and then we'll have, and then literally 2 weeks later, nothing for an entire month, you know. And so when it gets really, when the money gets tight, that's when
stress.
Yeah, just the stress, whatever. But I think I think that, you know, we have like we're really good at communicating that, and it's almost crazy. You know, we have never, you know, we've always like made sure that we respect each other, you know, because we're best friends as well as business partners. And so we make sure that, you know, not only do we keep those separate, but at the same time keep the level of respect on both sides, you know, for, you know, if we're just out drinking, talking about boys, or if we're, you know, in the middle of a shoot, you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
And so that's really, I think, the key to what has like kind of kept everything going for us is like, all right, we're in this together. Everything is hell right now. And then we're also insane under pressure. I think that's one of our big strengths is that like when it gets tough, like, you know, like warriors, you know?
You gotta have that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me the best shoot you've ever done. What's the shoot that impacted you? Besides mine, obviously mine. Besides mine. But what's a shoot that like, or a couple shoots that you've been like, damn, that was a good shoot?
God, I mean, honestly, 1,000 Horses was a big one.
Yeah, that was a big one.
We knew, you know, and I'm not saying that because of Michael, I promise, but when we came into that and knowing, you know, that their vision was matching ours, and it was one of those super fast. It was really, you know, we like talked on Monday and shot that Saturday.
Yeah.
And so usually you have like a month, the music's getting done, you know, whatever. And they had such a clear vision. Christina had a lot of really cool like ideas for shadowing and colors and had the perfect location, you know, just like in the back of her head. I wasn't there yet. And so I think with a lot of your ideas mixed with, you know, me, you know, wanting to make them look like stars, you know, that one was a really big deal. Obviously Jana's was a huge one.
Jana's was one of my favorites.
But real quick, back to that one. Ending in that field.
Yeah.
And I knew there was a big open field in the back of this farm where we were shooting, but I had no idea that it was covered in these flowers. That was like, when we got around the corner and all of us walked up, they're like, oh my gosh, like you could not have planned that. I mean, a wonderful surprise. And then just sitting like right in the middle of the flowers, it was like, oh my gosh.
It was perfect. It felt amazing.
Yeah, it was really, it just fit the whole vibe so well.
Yeah, and it was also like, that was one of those shoots where, you know, it was a big deal, you know, like, you know, 1,000 Horses, that's a big damn deal, you know? And
that's right, that's what I think every day. When I wake up next to Michael,
out.
I'm like, you're a big
My
damn deal.
sister freaked out.
My mom was losing.
Yeah.
Like,
1,000 horses, what?
And so anyways, yeah, but it was one of those shoots where we were, you know, just like pull out every single light, you know, and like a million people running around and trying to figure out all of this crazy stuff, and then everything was just naturally perfect there. The stylist, the glam, the everything, you know, was just.
Does it always come together like that, or sometimes is it rough?
If it doesn't, we force it.
But it's probably not as good when you have to force it.
I mean, no, it's not, but it's like, you know, we'll never tell them that.
Right,
you know?
right,
So
right.
it's.
But you know when it naturally comes together, and
Yeah.
you're like, and when the heavens are opening up their gates, and it's like, this is all meant to be.
It's honestly for me, I honestly, it's hilarious because, you know, you've been in front of the camera. I'm so wild and crazy all the time. And it's honestly when I kind of get like, when I don't really have to do much or say a lot, that's when you just know, like, they're comfortable. They know it. They've got what's going on, you know, and then you just hear me like, hell yeah, oh my God, that was perfect. Yes, yes, yes. You know?
Yeah.
I love that you're so vocal in it though. Like you're so good at talking during the shoot, which is great because you always are getting feedback, you know?
Makes people feel more comfortable in front of the camera. Like, what do I look like though? Does this look good?
Yes.
And when you hear someone going, hell yeah, you look great, bitch! It makes you stand up a little taller and just keep serving, you know?
Well, it's true because it's intimidating doing a photo shoot, you know? Because no one really knows how to pose perfectly all the time.
Yep.
And then you see all these pictures and they're so perfect, but that's after filters, airbrush, all this stuff. And so it's great to have that cheerleader in your corner. Okay, I want to ask you a few rapid fire questions, okay?
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, about photography first. A picture should, just answer in one word. A picture should.
Bounce. Off the page.
Okay. You both don't have to answer if you don't want to, but you can both throw
Good job.
If you have anything, okay.
Good job.
A good photographer pays attention to.
Color.
I was gonna say the client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that out.
client.
She's right.
Or and client, I think both.
Yeah.
Focus on blank, not blank, to make the best art.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Focus on the subject, not the money.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Magic happens when.
There's money. Man, these are hard. Magic happens. Magic happens under pressure. I don't know. When you're not thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, when
You're letting
it's-
go?
Yeah, when you let go.
I was going to say something just along the lines of when the client trusts you and trusts your vision, you know, which
Totally.
where they can see, you know, obviously like there's a compromise between what they're wanting and what you're thinking, but when they let go and let us just do what we do,
Totally.
I think
Trust.
the magic just like it definitely happens because they're not expecting that, you know, on their side.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Totally. I get stressed in shoots when.
When there's too much eyelashes. When the false eyelashes are too much. Because it's like, I can't see your damn eyes.
That's funny. I love that.
I am very much like a black and white person. Like I like things I can only be creative when things are organized. I can't be creative in chaos. I have to be creative in organized kind of like when, you know, before I start cooking in the kitchen's got to be clean.
Yeah,
You know,
yes,
we've got dishes everywhere, then I'm already lost.
Same.
Like I can't even
Yes.
deal. So when we get to a photo shoot or a video shoot and something unexpected comes up that I haven't planned for because I'm so, you know, OCD
Which
about
probably
it and
happens a
anal
lot.
and planning everything, and when things like pop up randomly and throw me off my game, I don't like
stresses
that.
you out.
I don't like that.
Okay. Okay. So I want to ask now a few deeper questions. Do you guys feel that you were walking in your calling? Like, do you feel that we all have a calling?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Why do you think people don't find their calling or live their calling?
I think it's because they don't jump. You know, I think for me, and I know that you feel the same way, it is, you know, the way that I know that it's my calling is that I just live, eat, breathe it every day, even when I don't want to. You know, when I'm on vacation and I'm supposed to not have my phone, I'm
Still
just
in your head.
still got something going on that I'm scheming about, you know, and it's like literally all I think about. I honestly like hate getting asked like, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, this, you know?
This is it.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of the answer for me is that it's just, you know, the calling is definitely when what you get paid to do, what your work is also what you want to do for fun when you're not, you know?
Totally.
When your off time and your on time are the same. Yeah.
What is the point of life? Not a deep question. Not too hard.
Yeah,
Starting
geez.
simple.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would say that to follow your calling,
Yeah.
to figure out what it is and live the happiest life that you possibly can.
just happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chase the happiness all the time.
And back to finding your calling, I feel like, you know, a lot of people might not completely know what their calling is. I feel like I lived in that kind of like purgatory for, you know, 10 years. Just like as soon as, you know, probably from like high school through college, like I was like, I know I'm creative, I just don't know what I want to do. But I kept following my gut and things that I liked and, you know, people that I was drawn to and figured it out. You know, so I think that could be another reason why some people don't follow their calling is they just aren't sure what it is just yet.
Yeah.
But keep fighting for it.
I agree. You
Keep
have
fighting
to.
for it. Yeah.
What would you tell your younger self? What's some advice you would tell your younger self? 10 years ago self.
Ooh, a lot.
What would you say?
I would tell myself a lot.
What are some of the tops?
Party less, work more. Keep going. I think 10 years ago I was definitely like afraid to just like reach out to these like big important people and say like, can I do a shoot with you? Can we do something fun? You know, I think that even though I did take a lot of risks, there were still a lot of things that I was very safe and scared about, and I would have said, grow some balls and jump off every chance you get. Do it.
Be fearless every time.
Every time, even if you fall, even if you fail, what you're going to, just go, do it again. And I feel like that could have gotten me to this point a lot sooner.
Faster.
You know?
Totally.
And so.
I agree.
What would yours be?
I don't know. Like, I just think of like the cliche, like I wouldn't change anything only because all of the mistakes like ended, you know, with me being here. Like, and not even saying like LA was a mistake. It was just a learning curve. You know,
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell myself not to do that.
Maybe learn from every
Yeah,
phase.
just like, girl, hold on tight. Because it's about to be a crazy ride.
It's a ride.
Just hold on.
When you're jumping, it's always
Yeah.
going to be crazy.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so then I like to wrap up. I could talk to y'all forever. I could talk to y'all forever. Can't wait for our photo shoot coming up. We're doing another one.
It's going to be a big deal.
Oh, yes, it is. Leave your light. So leave some inspiration of how you want to inspire people or how you've been inspired.
Lord.
I would definitely say, you know, to instead of, you know, especially in music business, it's so competitive, you know, and so insane all of the time. And I think instead of, you know, worrying about what other people are doing that, you know, that might be on a better path than you, then be in
Or you think they're on a better path.
Yeah, be in a community and, you know, lift those people up instead of worrying about, you know, how to get ahead of them, and keep pushing. You know, I think for me, when I stopped worrying about, you know, like, oh, there's another photographer in town that got a huge photo shoot and I can't believe that I didn't get it, you know, whatever. When I stopped worrying about that, which I think you and I have had a lot of conversations about that, haven't we?
Oh, yes, for sure.
And worrying about that kind of stuff, and instead, you know, being in a community where you support each other and, you know, and build that relationship up where you can be like, how did you set that up? That was incredible.
Learn from each other.
Learn from each other
Yes.
instead of,
Yes.
you know, trying to pin each other against each other kind of thing.
I
think
love that.
I think, you know, community is much better than competition.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everybody's
hashtag.
got, creative visions and their own, I think, swag to everything that they do. And definitely just supporting each other makes the world a better place.
I love it. Okay, FOCO Creative. It's Ford, Fairchild, Christina Cooper, FOCO. Get it, FOCO. If y'all need your pictures taken, these are the people to do it. Thank y'all for joining.
Oh my God, I love you so much.
Love you,
I
Caroline.
can't believe this is this.
This is this.
Crazy.
This is it. Peace.